Hey boaters and outboard motor enthusiasts, Keith McGowan here. I am the Outboard Dad, here to help you have a better boating experience by getting your motor running properly and having that confidence when you get out on the water to know you've done everything that needs to be done and it's going to run smoothly for you all day long. Now boats break down. That's why I had a job for so many years working on boats. Everything breaks down. That's why I had a job as a mechanic for so many years. But we want to do everything we can to eliminate the problems that most people run into. And I want to teach you, help you learn what I've learned over the years, from mainly from my mistakes, but also from people who've been boating longer than me, who've also shared their knowledge with me. So don't forget, my used outboard motor buying guides for sale right now on Amazon. For a limited time, I'm offering a free half-hour session over the phone. If you send me a proof of purchase to my email at keith@outboarddad.com that you purchased the guide for $20, I'm offering a free half-hour session to help you with a motor that you're looking to buy, or maybe a boat that you're looking to buy. It's normally a $250 value that I'm offering with proof of purchase of my guide. This guide is going to help you. Don't be another one of those people who called me and said, I wish I had this guide before I bought my motor, before I bought my boat, because it would have saved me thousands just in the things that I've learned how to do over the years that I want to teach you. So today we're going to get deeper into this carburetor rebuild. If you remember, we tore it down in the last episode and we ordered the kits. So we're going to open up the box, get the rebuild kits. They are Evinrude Johnson. I like OEM parts. And we're going to get in and do our needles, do our seats, and get these carbs cleaned out and ready to go so that motor can be up for sale. It's a 90 horse Johnson. I believe it's a 1985. I'd have to look up the numbers to be sure. And we're going to have a good motor for someone to run for many years. So let's get into this. We'll open up our box O parts. So what I'll do is kind of keep these separate here. And we'll go ahead and put my gloves on. And then we'll open up these kits and see what's inside for us to replace. So I'm going to go through the kit first real quick, and then we'll flush out this carburetor and all the little jets. So, it's clear on the other side, so it's easy for us to see, right? So Evinrude Johnson. So it's easy for us to see. We have new gaskets here as well for them mounting. So we'll check those old ones. If they look like they need to be replaced, we'll replace them. But it looks like we got a needle and seat in here. So we're going to put that aside and we're going to flush out these carburetors first. So I like the carbon choke cleaner. I do also like a little straw, which I don't see one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure, and the carburetors looked pretty clean. I didn't have anything crazy, but I want to be sure that I get all the little pockets blown out, all the little passageways here for the primer, as well as our idle passageways, right? When we crank this open, you can see little holes inside the venturis that go. So we're going to blast out through all the holes with our carb cleaner first. Good idea to wear a pair of safety glasses when you do this. So most of these you can see through some of these holes, but if you look here, I'm going to pick this hole and you'll see, right, you can see it blowing through there. So most of these you can see if you're looking inside. Sometimes you have to open up the throttle plates and make sure you have your safety glasses on and blow through every pocket. Once you've got everything cleared out, we want to make sure we have all the gasket material removed. We'll probably end up putting a new gasket on because obviously if I have material on this, it's probably not going to sit evenly again. So we want to make sure it's all clean. There's no little bits anywhere, especially inside the carburetor. And then we can start reassembly. So now that this one's all cleaned out, we want to make sure we clean out our bowl as well. So obviously our feed, and I'm going to clean this tube out as well. And we're going to clean this out really good. We can also take the drains out. I don't see a need to, as long as there's no dirt coming out of it. So once we make sure this is nice and clean, I'm going to wipe it off with a nice clean rag, because you don't want any dirt on the outside that's going to end up on the inside while you're putting it together. So now that this is nice and clean, sometimes the cold, it'll get a little cold from the cleaner and a little bit of moisture will get in there. We don't want any moisture in there either, Shouldn't be enough to cause a problem. If you look closely, there's little jets inside here that we blast out to make sure it's coming out the other side. And now we can go ahead and open up one of our kits and see what we're going to use here to rebuild this carburetor. So here is our needle and seat. And we have several different O-rings and gaskets that are for different models, because this will cover many years. So our main gasket we have, the top cover gasket we have here too, we're going to replace that, and then this one will go on the motor. Also when we look in here, there's a new pin for our float. And a new float. So we're going to put that aside, and let's get our needle and seat out, because that's probably what we're going to put in next. We'll open this up. So when I'm cleaning, of course, I have the gloves on. You don't want anything absorbing into your skin. It's really not healthy. Could cause long-term damage. My father was a window cleaner and owned a cleaning contracting company for many years, and he had his hands in cleaners all the time, and he's coming up on 85 years old, God bless him, but he's got skin kind of, deteriorated. So I'm trying to do my best to take a little better care, as he taught me to. So I don't want to drop any of this on the floor. So I'm going to go ahead and take my clip. So there's a little clip here. I'm going to put my needle on the clip so I don't lose it. And that just clips on there like that. And this will go on here. And let's see, here's our old needle. Put that aside. And the old plastic pin is here. Right, so we have a pin that goes in place to hold our needle and seat. But first we have to remove this needle, or this seat, and see what it looks like. So it does have a gasket on it. So we'll go ahead and put that aside. And we'll take the new seat and the new gasket. We'll make sure it's no dirt in there. We did flush it pretty well, but just take a peek in there, make sure there's no dirt in there. Could flush it out as well. And we want to make sure this is good and tight. Not crazy, but we want to make sure it's good and tight. And then we're going to go ahead and put our needle and float valve, right? It hangs on here like this. Right, so we're going to go ahead and put our needle and float valve in, and then we're going to put our pin in place to hold it. Now I'm thinking I might be doing this upside down. Let's check it out to be sure. It's always a good idea to have a couple old manuals around, and pretty cool. I have one of these Johnson Evinrude V4 crossflow motor manuals. It covers 88 to 110 horsepower on the V4s and 150 through 175, and this is a 1988 book. But it has the VRO and it has all those, and I can just look at some pictures here, and we look at the model that we have, and I can ensure myself that I'm putting the float in the proper way. So it's always a good idea to keep these around, just to check yourself out, just to make sure you have everything and you're installing it the way it needs to be. So as soon as we put it in there, we can see our float is nice and level, right, which is what we want. Now I always like to just do this a little bit and make sure it's popping level properly. It may be just a hair off, so we may make just a little adjustment, but now it is dead level. If you can look straight across it, you can see. So that's what we want. I always like to put a little WD-40 on my needle, just because it has that cleaner in there, and I don't want just the cleaner to be left in there, and it might start to stick a little bit. So now we're ready to just go ahead and reassemble this carburetor. We're just going to put the new gasket on. We already cleaned out our bowl, so we're going to pop our bowl back in place and get our screws over here. 4 screws. So these are pretty straightforward, simple carburetors. So it's not really difficult to do the rebuilds. And I like the simplicity of it. Doesn't really run perfectly smooth, these engines. You know, they have a little bit of a shake to them, and you know, they're not fine-tuned engines. They're not fuel injected, you know, so you kind of deal with a little bit of that, but they're simple and they keep running and get you out on the water. So I'm not going to crank these down. You notice I just met them at the surface first. I want to make sure I tighten these evenly. I'll even go across from the other. It's only a plastic housing here, plastic bowl, so I don't want to go too crazy. All right, so floats in. We can hear it moving inside there. Yeah, sounds like it. Should be good. Now we'll go ahead and put the top on with its new gasket. And we make sure this is nice and clean. It did have a little bit of that 2-stroke oil coating on it, but otherwise it was fairly clean. I didn't have to spray any cleaner on it. And we'll get all these little screws in. And that's basically it to rebuild these carburetors for these V4 cross-flow motors. Same carburetors on the V6, there's just 3 instead of 2. So it's pretty straightforward to do that. What we're going to do next is we're just going to tighten up this top. We're going to finish the other carburetor, and we're going to get this on the motor. We're going to pump some fuel in there with our squeeze bowl, make sure nothing's overflowing. We're going to check that primer solenoid to make sure that's not overflowing as well. I did see the oil line that fed this for the VRO pump had a cut in it, so I think that's why we were getting oil down inside there. But we're going to double check all that as well. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this up. Please like, subscribe, send me any comments that you have. Do you have a motor you're working on or something you're looking to rebuild? Do you have a family project? If you watched my videos recently with Zoe and Kyan and Brett, I just had a blast working with those kids. They did so much of the work themselves. If you have a family project you're working on, I want to know about it. Please let me know what your family project boat is, or your boat project is, and let me know if I can help in any way. So please like, subscribe, send me those comments, and we look to see you out on the water. Have a great day.